Hello, welcome to this Gespie's Atari Stuff video. In this video we return to the My Arcade Atari Gamestation Go. I already had made 5 tip videos about it, and I created a video about how you can improve the system by installing custom firmware. In that video I also expressed the wish that the only thing that was missing was a nicer user interface for selecting your own game ROMs. And that is exactly what the clever minds at Atari have now created. In this video we're going to look at how to install this custom user interface and what it brings us. This is what the current front-end looks like for choosing your own game ROMs. First you choose the system, and within that system you choose a game based on the game's file name. It looks fairly basic. And you don't see any information about the game, like in the front end for the built-in games. So we are going to expand this system with a custom front end, so that you do have all that detailed information. To do that we go back to the Atari Age forum. And we are going to the topic Gamestation Go Frontend 1.4. At least that's the latest version at the time of recording this video. This post was created by the front-end developer Kevren68. First we read about the improvements made in this version. And then something about the structure of the system. Next we come to the installation chapter. We will go through this later, step by step. Then some information about some extensions. And this ends with the Atari Gamestation Go Custom Firmware Frontend Scraper. With this you can find all those descriptions and images for your game ROMs. We will also download these after the custom frontend has been installed. And now we come to the files to be downloaded. Here we see a video of one of the templates. But now for the files. The first one is an emulator to test the frontend on your PC. But the most important file, the zip file containing the frontend. We're going to download this one first. Then we have the source files if you want to contribute yourself. An PDF with instructions on how to create a template. And then a general user manual. I'm going to download this one too. And some extra artwork. Here we have a newer launcher with some modifications. Now I'll just copy the downloaded files to a separate folder. And then we open the zip file containing the front-end. All the files are already in a folder, so we extract that to our folder. So here we have all the front-end files. Let's read back what we need to do with these. We start by making a backup of a number of files. I wonder why this is necessary, because we already have a backup of these files in the zip file. But let's just do it. Right, those are in the backup folder. Then we also need to make a backup of the theme file. These are located here. So if you want to customize one of these themes, make a backup of this file first. Now we're going to copy all the files to the SD card. And that needs to go in the bin folder. That is here. The files, probably including the folder itself, need to go in there. Oh yes, by the looks of it, it's including the folder itself. Here we go. This might take a while depending on the speed of your SD card. Okay, the files are there. Now what? The launcher goes into the games folder. In a folder named Launcher. We create an empty zip inside there, also named launcher. Now we have to modify the file start local SD. I make a backup of it first. We open the file with a text editor. We need to add a piece of code to it after the Pico 8 instructions. And that needs to go after the two FI files. That is here. I add an empty line and copy the piece of text. That goes in between here. This causes that when the empty zip file is selected, the Frontend launcher is started. Well, then we are done. I've put the SD card back into the Gamestation Go and turn on the system. The built-in menu becomes visible for a brief moment, but we go straight to the SD card after that. Then we arrive in the built-in menu. Here we need to select that launcher.zip. We open this file and wait. Yes, there it is. Wow, that's a huge improvement. By going to the right, we can select the systems. But those still need to be filled with the descriptions and the images. So we are going to scrape those first. To do that, we go back to the Atari Age to the scraper page that was linked to on the Custom Frontend page. The box art and such are downloaded from the Screen Scraper website. You do need an account for this. I had already created one and it's free. Now we move on to the installation instructions for Windows. To do that, we first need to install Python 3. We can download it here. I'm using the latest stable version. We have the installer for that here. We download this and start it immediately. After installing, we get a number of questions. I'm not sure what you should answer to those, but I will fill in the most logical answer. Right, that is installed. Now we download the scraper itself. We then extract it to a folder. And let's see what we need to do next. We can start the scraper with the file scraper GUI. We started with the Python that was just installed. And here we have the scraper. First we select the folder on the SD card where the games are located. That is this folder. Then we enter the login details for the Screen Scraper website. Everything else is already set up correctly. Now we can click on Start Scraping. This takes a moment, so we let it run for a bit. Right, that's done. In my case it took about 7 minutes. I've put the SD card back in the Gamestation Go. Now let's see what is made of it. We start with the Atari 2600. Oh look, a description and a short clip. That looks nice. Yes, it looks good. Let's move to another system. The 5200. The 17800. But also let's try if starting a game works. Yes, that works fine. And by pressing home twice we get back into the menu. But that's not all, because you can also choose a different theme. You get the selection menu by pressing select. Here we see the list of installed themes. Let's start at the top. Hey, funny, the Atari Age theme. In the style of the Atari Age forum. I find this one very calm and clean. The next one. CKAU. Is that actually a theme? Apparently not, nothing is happening. Then Frosty. Oh, very 8-bit style. Quite busy though. But I do like the system icons. Especially that they chose the XL computer for the 8-bit computer games. Next. Fun machines. Oh, that one is very nice too. Very stylish. Oh, but the game selection is different. Horizontal and with the box art selection. But that makes a little bit less space for the description though. The last one, Gamestation Go. Okay, really completely Gamestation Go style. Also quite nice. And a preview of a game is shown for every system. I would rather see an image of the system itself there. But otherwise it's very nicely done. Well, that all looks very nice. But the development of the Gamestation Go is moving very fast. Because while making this video, a new version of the custom firmware appeared on Atari Age. And the biggest improvement of this version 2.5 is that the custom frontend is now included. So you no longer need to install it separately. It comes bundled with the custom firmware SD card files, included the modified settings files. So we are going back to Atari Age. The Atari Gamestation Go Pro Forum. Here we see the topic Gamestation Go SD 2.5 Beta Release Notes. And the topic starts with what's new. That is an updated version of RetroArch. But here, as a second point, a front-end interface to launch games from. And this is Kevin68's Custom Frontend. Here we see the link to the page we covered earlier. But this is now included. Furthermore, there are a number of points listed that have been improved. But you can read through that yourself later, because I'm going straight to the installation instructions. Here we have a link where you can download the files. And we are going to do that right away. So now we will let this run for a while. The files have been downloaded, now what? You can unzip these to the root of the SD card. But if there are files there that you have modified yourself, you must make a backup of them first. Here we have the downloaded file. I'm going to unzip this to a local folder first. It might take a while, so we're going to speed that up. It's done. Let's look in the folder. I have my SD card here. The files need to end up in the root directory here. So I select all the files. But I don't think these two documents need to come along. I drag the rest to the SD card. This can take quite a while. Okay, it's done. That indeed took quite a while. With all these additions, it has increased considerably in size. Well, the SD card can be ejected. Onto the Gamestation Go. The card's in, let's see if everything still works. Now to the launcher. Oh, new systems has been added. Then the launcher isn't the latest anymore, of course. Yes, here it is. And here we have the custom frontend. Hey, those logos are dancing now. Atari 2600 pedal? What was the previous one then? Oh, it's Atari 2600 homebrew. Atari recharged? Okay, you can now launch that from this menu too. Hey, and the same goes for the balls of steel pinball machines. Now you actually don't need the built-in frontend anymore. Yes, this has turned out to be a very nice system. So it's really great that the custom frontend is now part of the custom firmware SD card files. Now you no longer have to create that launcher zip and modify the start local SD file yourself. And I heard that the next thing coming is that the launcher will start automatically. So then you won't have to select that launcher zip every time anymore. Then it's really perfect. I will post links to the covered Atari Age pages in the description below this video. And while you're there, please also click the like and subscribe buttons. You will be doing this channel a great favor. But for now I say thank you for watching and see you at the next Recipe Starry Stuff video. Bye!